Okay, so picture this. A voice, not from some fancy palace or a grand temple, but from the fields. A voice that has been echoing for nearly 3,000 years with a message so sharp, so unbelievably relevant, you'd swear it was written for us today. We're going to jump right into the book of Amos and see why its roar for justice still hits so hard.
Right out of the gate, the book hits you with this thunderous image. But listen, this isn't just some dramatic poetry. This is the opening bell for one of the most intense social critiques you'll ever read, and it's coming from a really unlikely messenger. The idea is that the Lion of God is roaring from Jerusalem, and as Amos puts it, when that happens, who can but prophesy? You just have to speak.
So who is this guy brave enough to speak for a roaring God? Well, Amos tells us himself. He's no professional, he's not a priest, he's not part of the Prophets Guild, he's an outsider from the southern kingdom of Judah, a shepherd, a farmer, just a regular guy with an extraordinary and let's be honest, a very unwelcome message for the rich and powerful northern kingdom of Israel.
Now, Amos kicks off his prophecy with a pretty brilliant move. He doesn't just come out swinging at his target audience. Nope. Instead, he starts by calling out all their neighbors, building this inescapable ring of judgment all around Israel.
And he uses this incredible, relentless rhythm for each nation. He repeats this line for 3 transgressions and for 4. It creates this powerful, poetic drumbeat of impending doom. That 4th transgression, by the way, that signifies that the cup of sin is totally full. It's overflowing. And judgment, it's not just coming, it's already here.
And the crimes he lists, wow, it's a whole catalog of inhumanity. He calls out Damascus for its insane cruelty in war, Gaza for its slave trading, Ammon for its brutal expansionism, and even Moab for disrespecting the dead. And you can just imagine the people of Israel listening to this, nodding along, thinking, yeah, get them. They deserve everything that's coming to them.
So Amos is going down the list, nation after nation, drawing that circle of judgment tighter and tighter. First Israel's enemies, then even their own relatives in Judah. So you have to ask, after everyone else has been put on blast, who is the final ultimate target of this whole thing?
And here it is. This is the brilliant, shocking twist in the whole book. After listing all the sins of the world, that prophetic finger swings around and lands squarely on Israel itself. The roar that was in the distance, well, it's right on their doorstep now.
So what was their unforgivable sin? Was it some foreign policy mistake, a military failure? Not even close. The core charge is this. They sold the righteous for silver and the poor for a pair of shoes. Their crime is all about social injustice. It's about how they treat each other. They've built a society where human life is literally worth less than a pair of sandals.
And this indictment, it gets right to the heart of what Amos is trying to say. He completely exposes this massive gap between how Israel acts in their religious life and what their society is actually like. They looked so righteous on the outside, but on the inside, they were morally bankrupt.
I mean, look at this contrast. It's just staggering. On one hand, you've got this loud, showy performance of religion, festivals, songs, the whole 9 yards. And on the other, you have the quiet reality of injustice. God says through Amos, I hate your festivals. Stop singing those songs. I'm not listening. And why? Because while they're singing their praises, they're also crushing the needy and taking bribes to deny justice to the poor. Their worship has become this ugly, offensive cover for what's really going on.
Amos paints this incredibly vivid picture of the wealthy elite. They're lounging around on these expensive ivory beds, drinking wine not just by the cup but by the bowlful. They've got the best oils, the best everything. But it's that last line that's the real gut punch. After all that luxury, all that self-indulgence, they are not grieved for the affliction of Joseph. In other words, they could not care less about the suffering of their own people, their own nation.
So, what's the alternative? What does God actually want from them? It's this. This is one of the most famous, most powerful lines in all of prophetic literature. He doesn't want more songs or bigger sacrifices. He wants justice, justice to flow like a river, and righteousness like a constant, never-failing stream washing over and cleansing the entire land. That's the real demand.
All right, so at this point, the whole prophecy shifts gears. The time for warnings? That's over. Amos is shown a series of symbolic visions that all point to one simple, terrifying fact. Judgment isn't a possibility anymore. It is an absolute inevitability.
First, he sees God holding a plumb line. You know that simple builder's tool with a weight on a string, used to see if a wall is perfectly straight?
Well, God is holding Israel up to his standard of justice, and the nation is crooked. It's unstable. It's about to collapse. The verdict is in, and it's final. I will not again pass by them anymore. God's protection is gone.
The next vision is a basket of summer fruit. And this one has a very clever and very grim bit of wordplay going on. In Hebrew, the word for summer fruit is kaitz. When God asks Amos what he sees and he says a basket of kaitz, God replies, "The ketz, the end, has come upon my people Israel." It sounds almost identical. The harvest is ripe for judgment. Time's up.
And the outcome he describes is just devastating. All those happy songs they sang in the temple, they're going to turn into howls of grief. The land that was once filled with parties and feasts will be filled with silent, dead bodies. It's the total, complete reversal of their prosperous, self-satisfied little world.
Okay, so after chapter of just relentless, suffocating doom, the book takes this sudden, absolutely shocking turn. Just when you think it's all over, that all is lost, this completely unexpected glimmer of hope pops up on the horizon.
I mean, think about the whiplash here. Earlier in the book, Amos declared, "The Virgin of Israel is fallen. She shall no more rise." It sounds totally final, right? But now, in the very last verses, we hear this. "In that day, I will raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen." The very thing that was declared ruined beyond repair will be raised up. The demolition is going to be followed by a total reconstruction. And this restoration isn't just about getting back to normal. No, this is a vision of unimaginable abundance. The harvest will be so huge that the person plowing for the next season will literally catch up to the person still reaping the current one. Ruined cities will be rebuilt. People will finally enjoy the fruit of their own labor, safe and secure in their land, with a promise that they will never be uprooted again. It's a vision of a deep, lasting, and just peace.
And so, the roar of the lion, which started with a promise of absolute destruction, ends with a promise of total restoration. And it leaves us with this timeless, challenging question, one that's just as relevant in our world of social disparity as it was in ancient Israel. What does it actually mean for a society to be judged not by its GDP or its religious fervor, but by how it treats its most vulnerable people?